Welcome back. This is just an update. We've got a really nice clean phase 2 McGahn. It's an RS275. We've just fitted one of our Motec kits. We're just going to run through what's in here and what's not. As you can see at the moment, this car has the ITG intake modification done to it. I'm just going to lift off this battery box so that we can show you the Motec install. So basically it's got the Motec in the battery box. We have had to fit a slightly smaller battery, but these give absolutely no drama at all. And the nice thing that we really like about all of this is that when you put the cover back on it, it gives a really good sleeper kind of appearance. If you keep the factory airbox, I don't really think there's any horsepower loss from doing that. It looks basically like stock. The only way you can tell that it's not stock is that if you look really closely here, you can see a little bit of wiring that's attached to the main harness, but once again, that's all pretty minor. The other thing this car has that's all pretty nice is that it's got a Coil Works 3-inch dump pipe on the system, but the rest of it's all pretty stock. If we lift off this engine cover, you can see that when you get in here, it's got our individual coil to change to sequential spark, which has a really big effect. We've got our flex fuel sensor just here. Got a fuel pressure sensor, there's an oil pressure temp sensor down below. The other thing that we've done is we've actually changed the nylon quick connect fitting to some Gates hose with a fitting on it, just because when we twisted it, it seemed like it was starting to come loose. You have to remember that these cars are all now starting to get a little bit old. Last thing we needed with this was to have any kind of a fuel system leak, which might have caused us drama, so we've moved away from all of that, and this is the rest of the system. It all sits there, it's all pretty nice. And once the cover's on it, you wouldn't even really know it was there. We'll just come over here. This is our dyno graph. So if you look at this here now, the blue line is where this car ran on the Sport ESC off mode. The red line is when it runs on 98 after it's been tuned. And the yellow line is our E85 map with a similar boost amount to the red line. If anything, it's a little bit lower, but what you need to understand is that E85 burns a little bit cooler, so it probably doesn't generate quite the same effect in the turbo that 98 does. But as you can see, the horsepower number is way up because E85 is 106 octane as against the 98 octane, and that's basically where you get the gain. The other thing with our system is that on normal mode, on petrol, you can run it on E10, which is 94 octane or 95 octane, so it mimics the factory system. If you put it on Sport or Sport ESP off, it really needs a 98. You can still run it on that, but the knock control is going to kick in, and it's probably going to have a negative impact on the whole scenario as to where it goes. We're just going to jump in the car now. And look, this is really the main reason for this whole video. It's just to show you. You can see we've got the car started. The car's quite low in fuel, so you can see everything works, but there's no check engine lights, there's nothing else. We've checked all of that as we've done. We're just going to come over here. We're going to an RS monitor. show you here is that everything it all still works. Like the car's basically cold, that was a cold start we did before, but everything still works in the whole deal. If we scroll through all the graphs, they're all still there. The system interfaces, it's all pretty happy. This has got our latest version of software. The previous version we had, this channel used to flick a little bit. We've corrected all of that. So now basically it comes like there's a solid data stream coming in. What we can do through our good partners at AS Tune, LCs in France, is we can actually remap the torque and the power curve so it actually reflects what we see on the dyno. This hasn't been done on this car just yet. We will be looking at doing it in the short term, but it hasn't been done just yet. But it's a service that we have that's available. Even if you've got the earlier RS monitor, we can still change the parameters so that it will reflect exactly what's there. Now this system accesses the throttle maps that are accessible through this RS monitor and everything else, but basically all the channels are sent, they all work. Your RS monitor has 100% compatibility with the Motec system. And if we come back to here, as you can see, there's no check engine lights, there's nothing. If I close this door, now there's nothing there. I'm just going to scroll through. It sends through, we'll just come back here. It sends through the fuel used as a pulse, so all of that stuff all still works. Everything still happens. It's a total integration package into the factory system. We're going to be going through a lot more videos just to show you exactly what you can and can't do with the system. It's going to be coming up over the next few weeks, so please stay tuned or keep checking back in. What we're going to try and show you is how we actually achieve the additional power with the Motec system as against the factory system. Now, this car is a factory system. We would like to believe. We don't think it's been tuned because the numbers that we got out of it when we ran it suggested that it hasn't been tuned, but we're going to go through all the steps to show you the differences between how the Motec controls the car and how the factory system controls it, and the additional tunability that this system gives you. What you need to also understand is that the Motec system that we offer is completely user accessible. It's not locked, it's not anything else. It's a free download from Motec's website. You need a $7 Ethernet crossover cable to be able to access into the system. It's completely end user compatible. You can get in, you can change whatever you want. There's extensive data files that you can access and data logging so you can see what's going on as you run along. It has far better closed loop fuel control and closed loop lambda control than what the EMS 3110 ECU can deliver, and basically that's how we achieve the extra power out of the car, just because we have more access to the tunability maps. Once again, thanks for watching. Please call back in the next few days because we're going to have a lot more updates on this whole system. You can see the gains that you can make, and how do we put it? Like it's something you should consider if you're modifying the gun, and it probably should be one of the early steps that you do with this, because this car has very, very limited modifications to the engine. We've achieved an additional 100 plus horsepower from 4,000 up to 5,800 RPM, and basically all we've got in there is we have put 1000cc injectors in it, or the Bosch 980cc injectors, if you want to call them that, but they deliver massively. We have done a fuel pump upgrade. If you that's basically the fuel pump upgrade is just so we can run on E85, which we do get a slight additional gain, as we would have seen from the graph before. If you don't want to run on E85, like please still consider using the Bosch 980cc injectors, because you will get the gain from the red line that you would have seen. If you only want to use petrol, you can get away with a factory fuel pump. You don't need to upgrade the factory fuel pump. If you want to run E85, you have to upgrade the factory fuel pump because it will run out of capacity. Basically, to achieve the horsepower levels we've achieved here, we need 180 litres an hour of capacity from the fuel pump. The factory fuel pump that comes in these Wagners is probably tapped out at about 150 litres an hour maximum capacity. If you put our fuel pump upgrade kit in it, or whoever fuel pump upgrade kit you want to run with, then it just gives you a far bigger capacity going forward. We use the Dixwork 300C fuel pump in our upgrades. Basically, it's capable of providing 340 litres an hour at 3 bar. These cars run 5.5 bar, and at 5.5 bar it produces around the 260 to 265 litres an hour. You can use the AEM 340 pump, which once again is 340 litres an hour at 3 bar. When you try and step that pump up to the 5.5 bar that these cars run standard, it's probably going to drop down to 250. So the Dixwork is probably a tiny bit more efficient, but either pump will be more than capable of delivering what you need out of the fuel system to be able to run it on E85. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you.